Was waiting for the first time one of us used the word either they or them, right?
Right. Well, and you know, that's where I feel like the kind of the examination gets derailed because people are trying to identify them. And I don't, at the beginning, I don't think the them is important. I mean,
Although it's very important when you're talking about trying to divide people up into an us and
well, and I feel like that's what's being done on all kinds of different levels. And the them in that is not necessarily the same them all the time. But you can see so many examples of, it's like we talked about on the conspiracy theory debate. It's like you've got, you get that drawn into an us and them thing, that's group dynamics. There's, you're either in the group because you see yourself as part of us or you see yourself as not part of them. That goes back to, what we had talked about is groups can define themselves by their enemies.
yeah, but I mean, I'm gonna push back just a little bit on that, okay? And I'm gonna say you brought up Carl Schmitt, and in retrospect, I think we can probably agree, I hope we can agree on the fact that when we talk about them, when we talk about Carl Schmitt and the Third Reich, they had this intent specifically in order to create an us, right? I mean, they really were trying to specifically divide and try to create an us so that they could, and the us was an us that they could control.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, when when that is done, it's done in two different dynamics. One is I want you to be part of, I want you to unite with me, be part of us. We are the same. And the other one is, oppose them. They are the enemy. They're the other. Yeah, I mean, and this is, it's kind of my thing. The Nazis did that to some extent. That happens all over the place. And if you wanted to look at the us and them in this example, which again, I'm not trying to determine even who that is yet, but the them in this example would be whoever is trying to get you and I to see ourselves as us's on different side and not us together. And I mean, you and I, to some extent, you and I, but more broadly, the right and the left or whatever, division you want to look at there.
Right. Right. So, I mean, I guess I'm trying to look at this from the standpoint of I don't want to go down necessarily the road of trying to define us and them in the sense of right versus left or MAGA versus non-MAGA or anti-MAGA or whatever the opposite of that is necessarily. And we could certainly go down that road, but I don't think that gets us any closer to actually understanding the is of what is happening, right? Overall.
Right. Well, let me see if I can get through this a little more. I kind of wanted as a sideline to, one of the things that I've identified here as, looking at discussing things, I've realized that there are different levels of, you know, understanding for this. Cause it's like there's a lot of stuff that it's like I've seen different things and things kind of snap into place. And I'm like, okay, I understand. Think I see some of what's going, putting the puzzle pieces together. But I've realized that there's a tremendous distinction between potentially understanding a perspective and being able to present that perspective to someone else in a coherent manner.
Right.
And even more so, then there's another level on that of trying to present that perspective in a coherent manner to someone who doesn't share that perspective. So, kind of one of the fun things. But